Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea called embodied recursion. It's a concept that completely flips our script on how we make decisions, suggesting that the real judge of our world isn't our conscious mind, but something much, much deeper. So let's just kick things off with a big question. We all learn it this way, right? You get some information, you think it over, and then you make a judgment. But what if that's totally backward? What if the judgment call has already been made long before your thinking brain has even had its morning coffee?
All right, let's get into it. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to start by looking at the default model of decision-making that we all kind of take for granted.
So on the left, you've got the model we all know. Think, judge, act. It feels logical, it makes sense. But here's the problem. It has a massive blind spot. It can't explain why your best, most rational thinking just evaporates when you're exhausted or stressed out. I mean, if thinking really comes first, why is it so fragile? It's because there's a hidden reality at play here.
That neat little model is missing the most important piece of the puzzle, your body. See, our physical state isn't just some vehicle for our brain. It's an active, intelligent partner in the whole process. And as you're about to see, it might actually be the one running the show. Think about it. Long before we ever learn a language or logic or right from wrong, our body is already making these incredibly sophisticated judgments about the world. It's running on a primal logic that filters everything before our conscious mind even knows what it's looking at.
And these are its tools. Things like fatigue, tension in your shoulders, the way you're breathing, your posture. These aren't just random physical sensations. They are the body's first filters. They're constantly sorting your reality into safe or unsafe, engage or retreat, all happening before you've attached a single word or idea to any of it. So before we get to all the complex stuff like good or bad, right or wrong, the body is making a much more fundamental choice. Do I lean into this or do I pull back? This simple binary, approach or avoid, is the bedrock judgment that all of our higher level thinking is built on top of. And this quote just nails the idea perfectly. The body doesn't think in terms of fixed points, like this is a good thing. It thinks in terms of orbits and gradients. It's sensing direction. Is this path leading toward ease and sustainability, or is it leading toward tension and resistance? It's a judgment of flow, not a final verdict.
And this leads us to a really stunning conclusion, one that turns that common model completely on its head. Our conscious thoughts, all our careful reasons and logical arguments, a lot of the time, they aren't the source of our decisions at all. They're actually the PR team that shows up after the decision has been made by the body to spin a good story and make it all sound perfectly rational. So let's talk about how this whole foundational system actually works. You can think of it this way. If our conscious thinking mind is one operating system, then our body has its own, much older one running silently in the background. We can call it the Embodied OS. This Embodied OS is basically what keeps us grounded and stable. It's this quiet, adaptive filter that takes in a massive amount of information from the world and decides what's even important enough to bother our conscious mind with. Its number one job isn't to think, it's to keep our whole system from crashing. And what's so wild is when you put them side by side like this, you've got the cognitive OS, our thinking mind. It's verbal, it's conscious, and it's fantastic at creating logical stories. But then you have its silent partner, the embodied OS. It's nonverbal, mostly unconscious, and its job is just to filter reality so we can handle it. See, they're not supposed to be enemies, they're a team. The problem is, we've forgotten who the team captain really is.
So, if this embodied system is so important for keeping us stable, why are we so bad at listening to it? Well, the answer really lies in the unique kind of pressure we face today, a kind of modern friction that our bodies end up having to absorb.
We're living in an age that worships data, logic, and language. You know, the stuff that computers and AI are really good at. And we've become so focused on what we can measure and articulate that we've started to think it's the only kind of intelligence that matters. And in the process, we've started to tune out that ancient wisdom of the embodied OS. This constant flood of information creates something called time friction. You know the feeling, right? You're on a Zoom call, your phone is buzzing, you have 20 tabs open, and you're trying to write an email. That feeling of being stretched too thin, like your brain is constantly buffering, that is time friction. It's the signature stress of our time, and it puts a huge strain on our internal system. And guess what takes the first hit from all this friction? It's not your conscious mind. It's your body. That embodied OS acts like a buffer, like a shock absorber, taking in all that stress and overload to keep your cognitive, thinking self from just completely short-circuiting. So when you feel these things, when you catch yourself taking shallow breaths, or you realize your shoulders are up by your ears, or you just feel this deep, unshakable fatigue, these are not signs that you're failing. These are system warnings. This is your embodied OS sending up a flare, screaming that its ability to absorb all this friction is hitting its absolute limit. So the answer isn't to just push harder or to try and outthink the problem. The answer is to initiate a system reset. And that means, first, you have to treat those signals from your body as crucial data. Second, you have to intentionally step into real rest and silence, not just distraction. And third, you have to give your whole system the time it needs to get back in sync. This isn't being lazy, it's essential system maintenance. And this leads to a really profound shift in how we think about what a good decision even is. Maybe it's not about finding the most logically correct answer in a vacuum. Maybe a truly good, a truly ethical judgment is one that your entire system, your body and your mind, can actually sustain over time without burning out. Once you start to see this deep partnership between mind and body, it leaves us with some pretty big questions. And these aren't just for philosophers. They're really urgent things for us all to think about as we go deeper and deeper into this age of AI. So, here's a little experiment for you. The next time you have to make a choice that matters, just pause for a second and ask yourself, is this decision really coming from all my careful, logical thinking? Or am I just writing a really good story to justify a gut feeling my body already had? The answer might really surprise you. And this brings us right to the edge of what's next. As we lean more and more on AI to help us sort through information and make decisions, we have to ask a really critical question. Is this incredible technology helping us get back in touch with our own embodied wisdom by taking some of the load off? Or is it slowly training us to ignore those subtle cues from our bodies, to trust the algorithm's output over our own internal compass? Is AI making us more human, or is it quietly dulling the very thing that is? That's a question we're all going to have to answer.